Welcome to Camp Gilead Live, or Gilead Live. We are so excited to have you back in our chapel. If you don't know what the chapel is, it is where every night of the summer camp week, we have chapel services. That means we have worship, we have a speaker. We already have some speakers lined up for the summer, and we are so excited to get started. So if you are interested, definitely hit up our website, register your kids for camp, and if we have any issues, know that you will have a full refund if anything happens that camp needs to be canceled. I know that's been a question going around. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. We would love to answer them and set anything straight that you need. But we kind of want to take a look at our chapel because our winter volunteers came in and they did some really awesome work. So if you look behind me here, we have a mural that some of our volunteers worked very hard on. And we think it's so beautiful. We're so excited to have this addition to our camp. So leave it all at the foot of the cross. And one of my favorite parts is the lights that we've had set up on the ceiling of our chapel, which is also in the shape of a cross. So we're really excited for all the work our winter volunteers. We are so thankful for all the work they do on our campgrounds and how much they help us get ready for you guys to come out to camp. So now we're going to head over. We have a very special guest that we are so excited to be introducing to you, my good friend Will Zinke. And I think that he might have an assistant that may appear now and then, so keep an eye out for that. But I'm going to turn things over to Mr. Will Zinke.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. Hey, you guys. Welcome to... Oh, are we hooked? Yay. Can you hear me? All right. Welcome to Camp Gilead Live. And I'm Mr. Will, or also they call me Wilderness Will last summer. I was running the Critter Camp. We've renamed the Critter Room the Creation Station, and we brought you guys some really cool guests to show you some of the things that you might see if you come to camp. And right here, Lukey, you want to help me? My assistant here is Luke. Okay, go ahead. Bring out our first guest. Oh, don't forget, we have hand sanitizer too. All right, Luke, there you go. Where'd you go, Luke? Here, stand up and say hi. Luke is my son. My youngest son, and we have 4 kids, and this is one of our special guests from the Creation Station. This is Candy the corn snake. Now, Candy has been here for many years at Camp Gilead, and she is pretty big there. Now, some of you guys may have seen corn snakes before. They are native here to Florida. They live around here. They are not venomous. People say, oh, is that a poisonous snake or a venomous snake? And say, no, corn snakes are not. They can be aggressive, though. Now, the neat thing about Candy is she has a real light color, and they call her kind of like albino. It's not true albino. She has red eyes, but it's more of a variation of her color. And a normal corn snake is not this light colored. So we're going to put Candy here. Luke's going to hold her. And by the way, she is a constrictor. A constrictor is a snake that kind of squeezes its prey and eats rats and mice and things like that. And they're actually really, really good and helpful. A lot of people say, oh, I hate snakes. They're just awful. They're terrible and they're scary. But God made all these creatures, and he made them with a purpose. And the snakes today, they do have a good purpose and help control the rodent population. Now this snake here, I'm going to pull it out. This is a native corn snake. We just caught it a few weeks ago. In fact, the man who found it was one of the winter volunteers. His name was Harry, so we named the snake after him. Now this one is a little bit feisty. So let's see. All right, there we go. Can you all see that? This is a normal corn snake. It's not as light colored as Candy. And she likes to eat big lizards. And you know, in Florida we have lots of large lizards. So corn snakes, again, they'll defend themselves. I want to tell you guys, don't pick up any snake. If you see a snake outside, do not pick it up because we don't know. It could be venomous or it could be dangerous, and you do not want to pick up a snake. So I want to let you guys know that. Remember, only if you're an adult there or someone who knows about snakes, that's when you want to handle a snake. So this is a corn snake. This is a corn snake. Again, you can see the variation. Now, of course, that means that they are still corn snakes. They'll always be snakes, just a different color. So we look around us. No two people are exactly the same color. Some are lighter skinned, some are darker skinned. And the Bible shows us and tells us that those those changes, those variations are within all of our genes, all in our DNA. And we're all still people. We're all still of one blood, the Bible says. And it's the same thing we see in God's creation, that there is a variation within a kind. It's not evolving into a different creature, just a slight variation in the kind. All right, go ahead and put Candy back. Go ahead. Luke's going to put her back there. And, here. We'll put her up here so you can see her in the tank. Now we have another special guest in here. Now this one's a little bit larger. It's always good to have hand sanitizer, especially nowadays, and wash your hands. So we want to use that hand sanitizer to clean our hands after we handle creatures like reptiles or snakes or kids. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. All right, you ready for this one? Go ahead, Luke. This is Papa. He has been around here for a long time at Camp Gilead. He is a very friendly and a very large python. This is a ball python from Africa. They live in West Africa, and they blend in perfectly to their surroundings. Let's see how large he is here. Can you guys see him? See the tongue coming out there? All right, ball pythons love to live on the jungle floor. They live in the jungles of West Africa, and you can see God has allowed them to be this beautiful coloration that blends in perfectly to their surroundings. That's called camouflage, right, Luke? All right, you see the little tongue sticking out? That little tongue is not poisonous, not venomous, but that's how they sense the air. That's how they see the surroundings there, and they're actually sensing for food, trying to find something like a mouse or a rat, and they'll track it down that way. Now, snakes are also mentioned in the Bible. We know, remember back in the Old Testament when Moses was in the wilderness with the children of Israel, and they were all complaining, wah, wah, wah. They were just having a terrible time, they thought. And so the Lord allowed a bunch of vipers to go through. And many of the people were bit by those venomous snakes. And we read that God told Moses to make some brass serpents and put them on a pole. And whoever would look upon that pole, God told them to do this, would be healed. And they would be saved from that snake bite. Now we all, that was a type of Christ. That was a foreshadowing of when Jesus would come on the cross and shed his blood for us. So when we look and we trust upon what Jesus did on the cross to save us from our sins, we will be saved. So, and here's one more guy. Okay, now this is another ball python. This is Romeo, and you see he's a little different color. He's a little lighter color than Papa was, and they have variations in their color, just like the corn snakes. The big ball pythons, they also can have different color morphs, they call it, and people pay a lot of money for different color variations of snakes, believe it or not. So that is Romeo, and that is Papa, and they are ball pythons. All right, we're going to put him back. Stay! Where are you going? Get back in there. Okay. I'm going to put here, Luke, you want to put him back? By the way, ball pythons make great pets. But make sure you check with your mom and dad before you go get a ball python. Okay, I wanted to read one verse in Psalm 104, verses 24 here. It says, O Lord, how many are your works? In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your creatures. And these snakes, I know they're kind of creepy for some people, but I think they're beautiful. I think they're awesome. And we know that the Lord returns to make a new heavens and a new earth. These venomous snakes that are out there, they won't be venomous anymore. Everything will be renewed. And it'll be just like it was in the garden, which when God made everything, he made everything perfect. No terrible creatures that would bite or sting or kill. And we look forward to his coming. So I hope you guys learned something today with us here at Camp Gilead, and I am kind of finished here. Caitlin, do you want to say something?
All right. Thank you so much, Will. This was super cool. So a lot of times people are afraid of snakes, right?
Yes.
Well, I have a Bible verse that I wanted to share because, especially with snakes and this time with the coronavirus, I know a lot of people are kind of worried about it. So, if I can find it, it's in 1 Timothy.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
No, 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God gave us not a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-control." And that's one of the verses that comes to mind when I think about snakes and the coronavirus going on.
That's right. Don't be fearful. And if you know the Lord, He's going to carry you through and give you that inner strength.
That's right. So I have a couple jokes for you.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Come here, Luke.
Luke, these are important, okay? My first joke has to do with snakes. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
What do you call a snake construction worker? Do you have any guesses? A boa constructor.
Oh, that's a good one. We'll have to remember that for camp.
All right, my next one is, why do seagulls fly over the sea?
Any ideas, Luke? Because they want to see the sea?
Because if they flew over the bay, they'd be called bagels.
Oh, those are great jokes. I like that, Caitlin.
Yeah, I love jokes. They're my favorite. So this week on Friday at 3 o'clock, Mr. Will's going to be back with us in the Creation Station, and he's going to give us a fossil presentation.
Yep.
So stay tuned for our fossil presentation on Friday. We're going to call it Fossil Friday. All right, y'all want to wave?
Bye-bye.